Hey everyone, and welcome to Edureka. Now, today's session is all about styling an Angular application with Bootstrap. As we progress in today's session, we will understand what is Angular, and we will understand and we'll get the introduction to Bootstrap, and then we'll be embedding Bootstrap in the Angular. Okay, and along with that, we'll also look into a quick hands-on as well, where I'll share you about the Angular as well. So that's the agenda for today's session. Now, here, as part of this learning journey in this Angular certification training program at Edureka, you're going to have a unique learning experience. This course and the overall curriculum has been created such a way that as a learner, you'll be progressing in a sequential manner, in a step-by-step approach. Now, when I talk about this sequential learning with this Angular certification training program, in the module 1, you'll get started with Angular. And module 2, it's about the Angular components and the data binding that you have got with Angular. The module 3 is about the directives and pipes. Module 4 is Angular routes and the navigation. And module 5 is RxJS and HTTP client. And module 6 is about how to handle the forms in Angular. And module 7 is validating the Angular forms. And module 8 is authentication with JWT and security. And module 9 is testing and the application deployment in Angular. And module 10 is about the in-class project. So as you can clearly see in this Angular certification training program, you'll progress in a sequential manner, and all the topics will be covered with the relevant hands-on exercise so that you not only have a theoretical understanding, with the help of the industry expert, you will know how it is used in an industry level. That's the advantage of this Angular certification training program at Edureka. All right, so let's get started and let's understand what exactly is this Angular and why it is actually important. See, everyone loves a good website, and creating the website is obviously an exciting, and creating the beautiful one will be the most satisfying one. Now here, that is where the Angular comes into picture. Angular in itself is a great framework which will help you to build the websites. Now, in case if you want to create an eye-catching, flashy website, which is a functional as well as looking good, and that's where the Angular shines. Now, when I want to talk about this Angular is an open source web development framework and which is maintained by Google. And this is based on the TypeScript language, which is actually a superset of the JavaScript. Now, Angular is immensely popular for various reasons. And one main reason is an open source, and it's an easy to use, and it will actually allow you to create the full-fledged professional website with very little code. And the another best part about this Angular is it has got the two-way data binding, which actually allows you to change the views through the models and the models through the views. And it provides some of the tools in order to perform the end-to-end testing. And these are some of the key features as why we love Angular. And here, when I want to talk about this front-end development, okay, when I talk about this front-end development, okay, so front-end development is all about the parts of the website which users see. So this is also referred to as CSS framework. So these are actually the packages which contains the pre-written standardized code in files and the folders. And they would actually give you the base to build on while actually allowing you the flexibility with the overall final design. Okay, so that's what we call it as a front-end development. And this AngularJS is a JavaScript based open source front-end web development, and which is maintained by Google, and it is by a community of individuals and the corporations to address many of the challenges which are generally encountered in developing a single page web page applications. So here it aims to simplify both the development and the testing of such applications by providing the client-side model view controller and the model view model architecture. So here, this JavaScript, this Angular 8 is a JavaScript based. So as you know, the JavaScript is a language of web. Now, if you know JavaScript, obviously you can talk to your browser like it's your best friend. And Angular is based on JavaScript and TypeScript. As I mentioned, it's a superset of JavaScript. And the best part of this Angular is the single page application. Okay, it's a single page application. Now that you have understood about the Bootstrap, okay, now that you have understood the Angular, so let's understand what exactly is this Bootstrap. See, when I say Bootstrap, okay, Bootstrap is an open source HTML, CSS, and JavaScript framework which is used to create mobile first and the responsive websites. So using this Bootstrap, you can easily create beautiful and the responsive websites by making use of its readily available layouts, components, utilities, and so on. So here, when we talk about this Angular Bootstrap, okay, so there are actually two ways where you can embed the Bootstrap into the Angular. So first method is Bootstrap CDN, that is the content delivery network. And the other method I would say is by the usage of npm, that is node package manager or node packet manager. Now if I want to talk about how to use this Bootstrap in CDN, okay, so when we talk about bootstrapping CDN, so you can actually make use of Bootstrap content delivery network or the Bootstrap CDN. And this will actually can be used to deliver the cached version of the Bootstrap's compiled CSS and the JavaScript to your Angular application. Now, in order to access it, you can refer to the official page of Bootstrap CDN and you'll get the overall idea of the same. So what you have to do is you just copy the link tag and paste it at the end of the head section of the index.html file. And once that is done, just copy the script tag and paste it at the beginning of the body section. Okay, now that's the high level. Now, once you have actually done that, you can also copy these two script tags of jQuery and the pepper.js and paste them in the Bootstrap script tag and save the file and open the development server. So you will be able to notice that the Bootstrap will be easily embedded and the front end and even the font, like if you're trying to change something, it will be changed accordingly, or any changes that you would mention, so it will be changed accordingly. Okay, so this is about using the npm. Now here, when we talk about the npm, okay, so this is another way or the alternate way which you can use which you can use it to embed the Bootstrap functionality into your project. In order to do this, what you have to do is you have to open the command prompt, that is npm install bootstrap jQuery popper save. Okay, once you done that, okay, once that is done, you'll be able to see that all the three packages along with the version will be present in this package.json file. Okay, so here the CSS and JS must be loaded globally. So that's one thing that you have to remember. And for that, we must specify the path within the Angular JSON file within the styles and the scripts array. Now, all the packages which you install, so it will actually get downloaded to the node modules folder. Okay, it will be downloaded to the node modules folder. Now, if you open the node modules folder and yeah, if you open this node module folder, so you'll be like you can actually look for, I think, let's see if it is available over here. If you generally open this node modules folder, and you can also be able to look for this Bootstrap, jQuery, and Pepper. Okay, so that's the overall idea, team. So here, once you have found the path of these, so you'll be able to, you have to actually have to add it within this angular.json file. Okay, it should be added in this angular.json file. This is the screenshot, okay, where they have added with angular.json file. So this is the overall idea on the same. Okay, so this is the overall idea of working with the same. Now that you have the overall idea on this, okay, let me just give you a quick hands-on as how you can get started with Bootstrap. Let's get started. So when I say Bootstrap, okay, Bootstrap, as I mentioned, it's a powerful front-end framework. So when we talk about this Bootstrap, okay, let me just give you a quick tutorial. So in order for you to get started, so I'm just going to create a code which will be where I'll be creating a web page using my Bootstrap. Okay, so let's do one thing. I'll create my first web page using my Bootstrap. Now, in order to create the same, I'll open my code editor. Okay, so I'll start by creating a new file. I'll call it as basic.html. So I'm creating a new file that is basic.html. Now here, I'll start by writing something like this. So first, I'm going to mention my doc type as HTML, then HTML. I'll mention my language as English. Okay. Next, I'll mention a head tag. Okay. And under this head, maybe I'm going to add some metadata. I'll mention my char set as UTF-8. I'll add a name. Okay. I'll mention my viewport and I'll mention my content, and maybe I'll copy paste the code team. I think that will be a best one. So here I've created a basic HTML file. So once I've created this HTML file, okay, so I'll make this HTML file as a Bootstrap template. So in order to make this plain HTML file a Bootstrap template, so we just include the Bootstrap CSS and the JSS file using their CDN links. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just show you how it would look like. So this is the overall code would look like. See, I have added the JavaScript file at the bottom of the page right before closing my body tag. Okay, so I've created like this. Now, after adding this Bootstrap CSS and the JS file to our HTML page, we can actually begin to develop any responsive site or application within this Bootstrap framework. Now here, okay, so we have got something called as integrity and the cross origin that we have got right now. So these integrity and cross origins, so they have been actually added to the CDN link to implement the sub resource integrity, which is also known as SRI. So it's a security feature which will enable us to mitigate the risk of attacks originating from the compromised CDNs. And this will also ensure that the files your website actually fetches, it could be from a CDN or anywhere, so it has been delivered without the unexpected or malicious modifications. Okay, so once that is done, So I'm going to save this. Once I have saved this, okay, so in order to open this, so I'll do one thing. I'll just open this file right now. So this is how a file would look like. Okay, so like it's a simple file, okay, where I've just created HTML file, and this like I've just created a bootstrap. All right, so this is how you can get started and open and view the files. And you can also right click and click on inspect. Okay, so you'll be able to see the overall working right here. Okay, so in this way you can actually perform the activity. Okay, now while working, so we can also create the containers with Bootstrap as well. So when I say containers, containers are the most basic layout element when we talk about in Bootstrap, and this is generally required when we are using a grid system. So containers, I can say, basically we use it to wrap the content with some padding. Okay, and they're also used to align the content horizontally, center of the page, in case of fixed width layout. So when we are working with the containers, okay, Bootstrap provides three types of containers. One is dot container, which has the maximum width at each responsive breakpoint. And we've got the container fluid, which has 100% width of all the breakpoints. And we have got container breakpoint, which has 100% width until the specified breakpoint. So these are the types of containers that we have got in Bootstrap. Okay, now like in order to create a responsive fixed width containers, okay, you can actually simply use the dot container class if you want to create a responsive fixed width container. So if I want to show you the same, okay, let me just show you. I'm just going to add the file. Okay, so I'll just execute it. See, I've created the responsive fixed width container right now. Okay, so I have added the heading and we are adding the paragraph of the text. And we can also use the flow, like if I right click and inspect it, see, like I've added the class as container. Okay, so if you want, we can also use the container fluid container fluid as well, so where we can like at that time when I do that, okay, so at that time, so it will be always be 100% like it will be fixed width irrespective of devices or screen sizes. Okay, and we can also add the borders and the containers as well. So if I want to give you an example, okay, so this is a code where I'm actually adding the background and the borders to my containers. So by default, my container does not have any background color or border. So in case, if you want to apply your own style, so you just have to simply use the Bootstrap background color border utility classes. Okay, Bootstrap container border utility classes if you want to create or add the background color or border on them. So in this example, this is a container with dark background and white text color. And this is a container that I'm creating with light background. Then this is the container with border. So if I save it and execute it, see, that's how we can actually add the background and borders to the containers. Okay, so that's how easy it is to work with the containers in Bootstrap. And we also have something called as a grid system. See, when I say grid system, okay, Bootstrap grid system will actually provide an easy and a powerful way to create the responsive layouts of all the shapes and the sizes. So that's how the Bootstrap grid system would work. So we can actually start working and create 2-column layouts. Like we'll have some 3-column layouts. So like you can use all those principles of the grid, and you can also start working on the same. Okay, so that's the overall introduction to Bootstrap. All right, team. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. As part of our today's session, we have seen how we can build, how we can style an Angular application with Bootstrap, and we have understood what exactly is this Angular Bootstrap, and we have seen a basic tutorial around the same. So thank you so much for joining in, and I look forward to seeing you next time.